Good morning, guys. Hope you're having an exceptional day. It is Ping here. Today it's currently 6 in the morning. We've woken up at like 5:30 to come to a place that I scouted out yesterday for sunrise. And let me just say, this place is gorgeous, but it's very near where the hot air balloons take off, so we can see all the hot air balloons. And as the sun rises over the valley, it is going to be absolutely stunning. So this view, it might be one of the best I've had here in Cappadocia. I know I'm saying this about essentially every single sunrise here in Cappadocia, but that was one of the best sunrises ever. It is warm, and I love the fact that it is warm because nights in Cappadocia are very, very cold. That's why I'm no longer wearing a sweater. But now we're gonna head back to Goreme. Welcome back to Goreme. Currently at the hotel room, and we are going to have a really adventurous day today. We are going to leave Goreme. We're going to be heading to the southern part of Cappadocia. So apparently there's a bunch of like underground cities that people used to live in. Then there should be some beautiful canyons, maybe some valleys, and then we're going to come back to Goreme, and then we're going to hopefully find a valley for sunset, and hopefully there will be no problems with the bike. So a lot of hopefullys today. Just hoping that everything works out, and I'm very excited. But let's head on to the bike and let's head to our first stop. Alright, so we've come to a place known as Kaimakuya Town, and on Google Maps it said it was supposed to be 25 minutes. The reason it took me about an hour is because I took a wrong turn, ended up going on that wrong road for about 15 minutes, realizing that it was the wrong road, going back another 15 minutes. So I wasted half an hour on a wrong road to a different city. Kaimakuya is famous not because of any valleys or any fairy chimneys, but because it's home to an ancient underground city. So let's go check out the Kaimakuya ancient underground city. So the Kaimakuya underground city is this huge maze, a labyrinth of all these rooms all connected together. The only parts that are accessible are only 10% of the entire city. So there's a lot of it that's unexplored and a lot of it that's not yet accessible. Now what's really cool about this underground city is that it has all the parts of a basic city. So there's the homes where you can see where people live, there's a church, there's a stable, food storage, winery, anything that an ordinary city would have, they have it in this underground city. And it is amazing that they've been able to build all these rooms and compartments underground. Now in terms of lighting, currently they have a lot of lights put on the floor, on the ceilings, to illuminate the path, to illuminate the rooms. But in the past, they just used candles. And you can see on the walls, right here for example, those holes were used to put candles and torches to light up the rooms so that people would know where to walk and everything. So it is just amazing how these people managed to live underground completely and be completely self-sufficient. Like, they didn't need to go up. Their horses, their cattle, everything would stay underground. The reason they stayed underground is to prevent attacks. So it was like a safety, like bunker almost. But it is incredible how well developed this entire place is. Like I said, only 10% is accessible, so there's another 90% that we aren't able to see this time. But wow, that is really, really impressive. We are currently in the room where they stored food. It's a food storage, and these massive pits are just where they used to put food. And it is huge. Like, the amount of food you could put in here could last the city a very, very long time. But just imagine all the digging they would have to do to make sure that there were these holes where they could put food inside. That is just impressive how these people were able to innovate and create ways to survive underground completely. If you're claustrophobic, this underground city is not the place for you. Look at how small these tunnels are. I don't know if I can even make it through because it's literally so short. And for someone who is 6'1", this is impossible. It is so difficult. This underground city is great and all, but I would never survive here. I would be hitting my head so many times. I mean, I would never be able to stretch my back straight because these little tunnels, these rooms, everything is just so short. I don't know what happened, but like the people who used to live here must have been really, really short because wow, I am really struggling to get around. Like I'm literally crawling on all fours through some of the smaller tunnels because it is very, very tight in here. One thing I immediately noticed when I stepped into this cave system is that it's substantially colder than it is outside. It's not cold to the point where you're like shivering, but it's kind of like a cool, temperate weather, which means that for most of the people living in the caves, it was such a great place to live because, I mean, imagine at night trying to sleep in here. It will be so easy. There's no heat in here. It is just so breezy, cold. So yeah, if you are very sensitive to weather, bring a jacket because it does get a little bit chilly, but it's not too unmanageable. I mean, I'm in t-shirts and shorts and I'm doing okay. So all around the underground city, you'll see big rocks like this. It's a big circle and there's a hollow circle in the middle. These are the stone doors of the city, and in the past what they did was whenever there was an attack, when they needed to defend the city, they would use these doors, they would prop them up and stop the enemies from coming in because these things, they're massive. They are so heavy. So there would be no way for the enemy to enter the city if these doors were up. Then once the attack was over, they didn't need it for defensive purposes anymore. They would bring the stones back in, just keep them here until the next attack. So it's so interesting how they used rocks in the area, made walls out of them essentially, and used them to defend their underground city because I don't think I've seen anything like this anywhere else in the world. When I came to Kaimakuya underground city, I wasn't very sure what to expect, but now that I'm leaving, I feel like I stepped back in time and saw how an ancient underground city runs. It is really magnificent. It is very impressive. I would say one of the best things that you have to do here in Cappadocia. And my recommendation is before you enter the underground city itself, there is a little movie theater where they're showing a movie. There are English subtitles on it. So watch the movie because it explains all the different parts of the underground city, and it essentially gives you a tour guide before you enter the city. It gives you background information on Cappadocia, on the underground cities. So definitely go watch the video before you enter. I entered and then watched the video and everything just clicked together a lot more. But wow, just really impressive. What's even more surprising is that there's 300 of these underground cities around Cappadocia. So we are going to head to our next underground city for the day. just like the previous underground city we went to. All these underground cities are all covered under the museum pass in Cappadocia, and trust me, it is already so worth it, because the earlier underground city was 50 liras. I think this one was also 50 liras, and then the Göreme Air Museum was 90 liras, plus some other things. I mean, there's 25 liras here, 25 liras there. The entire card itself is only 190 liras, which right now, considering how much I'm using it, is completely worth it. So if you're in Cappadocia, get that museum pass, because it is really, really worth it. But now we've come to our next underground city for the day. This is Derinkuyu underground city. Let's go check it out. My first impression right now is that this place is very different from Kaimakuya, because Kaimakuya was much narrower, it was much tighter. Here everything seems more open, there seems to be more space, but I'm not sure if that will be the case for the rest of the ancient city. Let's go in and see what it looks like. Alright, I think we've gotten to the head bumping part here. It's better than Kaimakuya, I'll say that, but it is very, very short. And we finally opened up again. This right here is the church of the old city, and I have to say, it is so much bigger than the one at Kaimakuya. It is huge. I mean, it's got two flanks here, it's got the nave in there, and then the chamber where everybody sits is just massive. It is really, really big. This underground city used to house over 10,000 people. That is insane to imagine. But yeah, the church is huge. It's not as intricately designed as the one at Kaimakuya. Like, you can't really see the table where they would put the altars or all the details, but the size of it is much bigger than the one at Kaimakuya. I'm sure it could at least fit maybe 100, maybe 200 people. I mean, it is a very, very big church. If you had like paintball games in here, or like hide and seek, this would be the best place for such a game. It would be absolutely perfect. Wow, that was definitely one underground city. And actually really, really cool. I have to be honest, I never expected this sort of standard of underground cities. It is really, really impressive to see how they still have it here, how it's still preserved, and the fact that they can identify each room, like this is a living room, this is a kitchen, this is a church. It's just really, really impressive.